Alrighty, folks, we're now 6-0 in our last 6 board member tier package picks on my premium page. With the Astros money line yesterday, they took care of business 5-3. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, I have another board member tier package pick going off here today. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Friday, July 5th, 2024. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully you had a great 4th, not too drunk or hungover, and hopefully you didn't blow chunks like Airsoft Fatty did on the chugging contest and the hot dog eating competition. But anyway, that's disgusting. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And once again, folks, we are 6-0 in our last 6 board member tier package picks. And I'll tell you what, if you sign up for that membership here today, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Of course, if you want to access all of my premium selections, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive chairman membership. Chairman members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, well, yeah, you might occasionally get access to my chairman briefing as well. We do that from time to time, but of course, if you don't need access to all of my premium selections, but maybe you could use like one a day, my daily best play costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days of service. Once again, folks, the site is patreon.com/BrockPage. Normally, I don't take that long with the introduction, but I think it's very important that you know that I have this service and I offer it because it's very successful. And I'd feel bad if you continue to miss out on these excellent premium plays. So anyway, I'm doing it for you, not for myself. Let's go ahead and dive into some free content, more things that I'm doing for you and not for myself. But anyway, Angels, Cubs, 2:20 Eastern first pitch. Chicago's -$2, totals 10.5. Justin Steele for the Cubs, Griffin Canning for Los Angeles. And the righty Canning's just 3-8 on the year with an ERA close to 5. But even if Canning throws well here today, the Angels are definitely having a tough time getting the W on the road. They're currently 18-24 in their travels. Joe Adell bats just 186 with a -0.1 WAR. And Mickey Moniak's batting just $1.93 with an OPS in the 500s. They're facing Justin Steele, who's got a 3.20 ERA, along with a 1.07 whip. And I'll tell you what, these Chicago pitchers have definitely been tough to hit against at Wrigley Field. As a matter of fact, they're striking out more batters at home than any other pitching staff besides one. Now, injury-wise, Mike Tauchman's out for the Cubs. Luis Rengifo's questionable for the Angels. When it comes to the total, 6 out of LA's last 10 ball games stayed under the total. Meanwhile, 7 out of Canning's last 11 starts also stayed under the line. Now, 5 out of the Cubs' last 7 Justin Steele starts stayed under the total as well. Give me the Cubs -1.5, under 10.5. Next game, Mets, Pirates, 6:40 Eastern start time. Pittsburgh's -140, total 7.5. Paul Skeens for Pittsburgh, Luis Severino for New York. And even though most of the attention is going to be on Paul Skeens, I wouldn't quite sell Severino short here. The righty's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.16 whip. And of course, at the plate, nobody's hitting better on the road than the Mets. These guys average more hits a game away from home than any other roster in baseball. Francisco Lindor leads the roster in hits. Brandon Nimmo's got the most RBI. And as good as Paul Skeens has been for the Pirates, they've certainly had a tough time winning at home. These guys currently have a losing record at PNC Park. And no real surprise here, they are a bottom 5 run-producing team on their own diamond. Now, injury-wise, Davis is out for the Pirates. Bader's questionable for New York. When it comes to the total, 3 out of the Mets' last 5 road games did fall under the total. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's gone 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Mets plus 1.5, under 7.5. Next game, Cardinals Nats, 6:45 East. St. Louis is the $1.80 favorite on the road. Totals 9 runs. Sonny Gray for the Nationals, Patrick Corbin for Washington. And even though Corbin stunk this year, the Nats did get the W in their last 2 straight. And they're facing a Cardinal team who's had a tough time cashing in on the run line on the road. They currently have a losing record against the number in their travels. And a lot of that has to do with poor plate appearances. The Cards are currently in the bottom 5 in runs per game. Nolan Gorman bats just 189, 114 strikeouts on the year. And Mike Ciani's got an OPS in the 500s. Of course, as a team, the Cards currently have a losing record against National League opponents on the road. When it comes to the injury list, Herrera and Nootbaar are out for the Redbirds. Gallo's out for the Nats. When it comes to the total, Washington 63% to the under against National League opponents at home. Meanwhile, St. Louis is currently 66% to the under against National League opponents on the road. Give me the Nationals plus 1.5, under 9. Next matchup, little AL East action here. Red Sox Yankees, 7:05 East. The Yankees are minus $1.40, totals 8.5. Nestor Cortez for New York, Tanner Houck for Boston. Now, Houck's got 7 wins on the season, along with 105 strikeouts. And it should come as no surprise, the righty's also got a 2.67 ERA, along with a 1.02 whip. But even if he does have a tough outing here today, the Bo Sox are one of the best road-hitting teams in the league. These guys are in the top 5 in run production away from home. Jarren Duran leads the organization in hits. Rafi Devers has the most runs batted in. They're facing a Yankee club who's definitely struggled recently, and they definitely don't like winning for Cortez. The lefty comes into today's contest with a 4-7 record on the year. When the Bombers play against the AL East, well, bad things do tend to happen. New York currently has a losing record in their divisional games. They also took the loss in 8 out of their last 10 outings. Now, injury-wise, Stanton's still out for New York. Grissom inactive for Boston. When it comes to the total, 4 out of the Red Sox last 5 road games did get over the total. They're also 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, the Yankees have gone 80% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Boston plus $1.20, over 8.5. All right, next game, White Sox, Marlins, 7:10 Eastern, first pitch. Miami's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Brian Hoeing for the Fish, Drew Thorpe for Chicago. And the righty Thorpe's 2-1 already through a handful of starts. He's got a 1.23 whip on the year. And I'll tell you what, more recently, the White Sox have definitely been hitting the ball well. They got the W in 4 out of their last 7. They averaged 5.6 runs a game during that time frame. And they're facing a Miami club who lost their last 4 straight themselves, and they currently have a losing record against American League opponents. Matter of fact, out of 17 interleague home games this year, the Marlins got the W only 4 times. And a lot of that has to do with poor plate appearances. The Fish are dead last in the National League in runs per game. Excuse me. Tim Anderson has a pitiful OPS of 463, negative 1.3 WAR. And Jake Triple Cheeseburger, he has an on-base percentage of just 254, negative WAR for him as well. Now, injury-wise, Otto Lopez is out for Miami. Dom Fletcher inactive for Chicago. 3 out of Drew Thorpe's last 4 starts did fall under the total. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Miami stay under the line. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me the White Sox plus $1, under 8.5. All right, next matchup, Tigers, Reds, 7:10 Eastern, first pitch. Cincinnati's minus 120, totals 9. I got Ever get an itchy muscle, like it itches inside of your muscle? I have that right now. My left quad, very itchy. That's a bizarre phenomenon there. Anyway, Tigers, Reds, 7:10 East. Cincinnati's $1.20, totals 9. Carson Spears for Cincinnati, Reese Olson for Detroit. And I'll tell you what, I think a lot of squares are going to be deterred by Olson's win-loss record. He's just 2-8 on the season, pretty ugly, but that does not reflect the quality of starts. You know, what you don't see is the quality of starts that he's had this year. He's got 81 strikeouts, 3.32 ERA. And I'll tell you what, out of Detroit's last 10 meetings with Cincinnati, they've actually hit Cincy pitching quite well. They averaged over 5.1 runs a game during that time frame. As far as this season's concerned, well, the Reds can't hit for crap. These guys average fewer hits a game at home than any other lineup besides one. Will Benson bats just 189 with 107 strikeouts. Espino's batting just $190. Meanwhile, as a team, the Reds have a losing record in their interleague home games. Now, injury-wise, TJ Friedel's out for the Reds, Baez and Carpenter inactive for the Tigers. When it comes to the total, these Detroit pitchers have held Cincy to just 3.7 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. Meanwhile, 8 out of Cincy's last 11 interleague home games stayed under the total. With Detroit plus $1, under 9. All right, next game, Giants, Guardians, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Cleveland's minus $1.65, totals 8.5. Tanner Bybee for the Guardians, Spencer Bivens for San Francisco. And for some reason, the Giants do not pitch well away from San Francisco. These guys allow more hits a game away from home than any other staff besides one. And that's certainly bad news because Cleveland pounds the baseball at Progressive Field. These guys are a top 5 run-producing team at home. Jose Ramirez has the second most RBI in the majors, 4th most home runs. And Steven Kwan bats .367 with an OPS in the mid-900s. Now, injury-wise, Will Brennan's out for the Guardians. Mike Yastrzemski's questionable for San Francisco. 6 out of the Giants' last 10 ball games did get over the number. Meanwhile, Cleveland went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Guardians minus $1.65, over 8.5. Next matchup, little NL East action. Phillies Braves, 7:20 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's minus $1.40, total 7. Max Fried for the Braves, Aaron Nola for Philadelphia. And once again, Nola having another good year for the Fightins. He's been doing that his entire career. 9-4 record thus far, ERA in the 3s. The Reddies also got a 1.04 whip. And he's just 1 strikeout shy of the century mark. And even in the rare case that Nola struggles, he is backed by a top 3 run-producing lineup. Alec Boehm leads the roster in RBI and hits. He's actually 3rd in the bigs in RBI. And Trey Turner, he's currently batting .338. They're facing an Atlanta squad who's playing just .500 baseball in their divisional home games. Of course, at the plate, they do strike out a lot, and they don't walk much. Now, injury-wise, Orlando Arcia is questionable. Anderson and Harris are still out. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, Harper, Real Muto, and Schwarber, they're still inactive for them. 4 out of the Phils' last 6 road games did get over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Phillies plus $1.20, over 7. All right, next game, Rays, Rangers, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Texas is minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Michael Lorenzen for the Rangers, Shane Baz making his season debut for Tampa Bay. And even though the Rays really haven't been spectacular this season, they do tend to play their best baseball on the road. They currently have a winning record away from Tropicana Field. Ahmed Rosario hits .301 at the plate. Isaac Paredes has an on-base percentage of .368 himself. And they're taking on Michael Lorenzen, who's got a handful of losses and does not have a winning record. And speaking of which, the Rangers as a team, they do have a losing record against American League opponents at home. And in their last 10 ball games over the past week or so, these guys lost all of those contests except for 2. Now, total-wise, 3 out of the Rays' last 4 road games did fall under the number. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Rays plus $1, under 8.5. Next contest, Astros Twins, 8:10 Eastern start time. Minnesota's minus $1.60, totals 8 runs. Pablo Lopez for the Twins, Sean Dubin for Houston. Now, Dubin's got an ERA of 4.91 along with a 1.56 whip. And I'll tell you what, when the Astros play on the road, they actually play their worst baseball. These guys have a losing record in their travels. They're facing a Minnesota club who won 7 out of their last 10 themselves. Top 10 in the league in hits per game at home. Carlos Correa bats .311 with an OPS just about in the 900s. And Willie Castro leads the clubhouse in hits. But I'll tell you what, it ain't just batting when it comes to the Twins. Their pitching staff has certainly racked up the strikeouts. And, starting pitcher Pablo Lopez, he's got a 1.15 whip along with 110 Ks. Now, injury-wise, Kirilloff and Lewis are out for the Twins. Caratini and Tucker are inactive for Houston. 5 out of the Astros' last 7 road games got over the line. Meanwhile, Minnesota went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Give me Minnesota minus 160, over 8. Next game, little interleague action here. Royals, Rockies, 8:10 Eastern first pitch. Kansas City's minus $1.80 on the road here. Totals 10.5. Cole Reagans for the Royals. Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's winless on the year with an ERA of 7.94. And these Rockies pitchers collectively, they've been awful all season long. They allow more runs a game than any other staff in the major leagues. Unfortunately for them, they're facing a Royals club who got the W in 6 out of their last 10 themselves. Bobby Witt Jr. leads the roster in hits. Salvi Perez has the most home runs. Meanwhile, on the mound, Cole Reagans has certainly racked up the Ks. He's fanned 126 batters and has a 1.17 whip. Now, injury-wise, Adam Frazier is still out for the Royals. Chris Bryant's out for the Rockies. Brenton Doyle's also questionable. Give me Kansas City minus 1.5, over 10.5. Next game, Diamondbacks, Padres, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. San Diego's minus $1.20, totals 9. It's either Matt Waldron or Randy Vasquez for San Diego. I've gotten conflicting reports on that, so not really sure. It's either Waldron or San Diego. It's either Waldron or Vasquez for San Diego. Slade Ciccone for Arizona. And even though Ciccone really hasn't been good, he somehow still has a respectable 1.26 whip. Of course, as a team, the D-backs won 4 out of their last 5. And they do have a winning record against divisional opponents. Ketel Marte has the most hits on the roster. Christian Walker's now 5th in the bigs in home runs. He's really turned it on, recently after a bit of a slow start. And if they are facing Randy Vasquez, well, he's just 2-4 with an ERA close to 5. But I'll tell you what, these San Diego pitchers as a whole, they just did not throw well at Petco Park. They're in the bottom 5 in the National League in runs allowed at home. And I'll tell you what, when they face divisional opponents, the Pods are winning just 40% of their divisional home games. Give me Arizona plus $1, under 9. Next game, O's, A's, 9:40 p.m. East. Baltimore's the $1.75 favorite, totals 8 runs. Albert Suarez for Baltimore, Hogan Harris for Oakland. And Hoagie's got just 1 win on the year with a 1.31 whip. But even if Harris ends up throwing well here today, the A's definitely have all kinds of problems moving base runners. It's been that way over the past couple of seasons. Oakland's currently in the bottom 3 in runs per game. They're going to face Albert Suarez, who's 4-2 on the year with an ERA of 2.43. Of course, at the plate, Baltimore's just been outscoring everybody. They lead the major leagues in runs per game. Gunnar Henderson has the second most homers in the majors, fourth in OPS, and Anthony Santander is second on the roster in home runs. Now, injury-wise, Toro and Ruiz are out for the A's. 7 out of the O's last 10 meetings with Oakland did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. They actually scored 72 total runs during that time frame. Give me Baltimore minus $1.75, over 8. Next contest, Blue Jays, Mariners, 9:40 Eastern, first pitch. Seattle's minus $1.45, total 7.5. Luis Castillo for the M's, Kevin Gausman for Toronto. Now the righty Gausman's just 6-7 on the year with an ERA close to 5. And even if he does throw well here today, there is a pretty good shot he'll get like no run support. Toronto's in the bottom 5 in hits per game on the road. Kevin Kiermaier's batting 187 with an OPS of 508. Alejandro Kirk and Dalton Varsho are both batting $1.99. And I'll tell you what, they're facing Luis Castillo, who's got 103 strikeouts and an ERA in the 3s. And I'll tell you what, T-Mobile Park has definitely been the toughest place to score runs at. The Mariners allow fewer runs a game at home than any other staff in baseball. Now, injury-wise, Mitch Garver is questionable for the M's. Turner and Bichette day-to-day for Toronto. 4 out of the M's last 6 home games stayed under the line. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give them the Mariners minus 145, under 7.5. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Brewers-Dodgers game. That'll be a 10:10 Eastern first pitch. The LA Dodgers are minus $1.90, totals 8 runs. Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers, Aaron Savali for Milwaukee. And even though Savali's had a rough year this year, I think a change of scenery could be good for him. Obviously, Milwaukee's hurting for starting pitching right now. The injury bug has been tough on that staff. But I'll tell you this much. The Brewers as a team, they did get the W in 7 out of their last 10 games. And they do have a handful of good batters at the plate. I know that the Dodgers are dangerous at the dish, but Brewers got a pretty good lineup themselves. I mean, William Contreras leads the roster in hits. Willy Adames has the most RBI. And even though Tyler Glasnow has been great on the mound for the Dodgers, LA's had a tough time against the run line. They failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 at Dodger Stadium. And in their last 10 ball games, they successfully covered the number only 4 times. Now, as good as Glasnow has been this year, strikeouts are definitely down for the Dodgers at home. They're in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per 9 on their own diamond. Now, injury-wise, Jason Hayward's questionable for the Dodgers. Ortiz and Dunn out for the Brewers. When it comes to the total, the Dodgers' last 4 straight at home got over the number. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Brewers plus 1.5, over 8. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Cubs minus 1.5, under 10.5 runs. Mets plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. I'm 6-0. My last 6 board member picks on my premium page. Nationals plus 1.5, under 9. Red Sox plus $1.20, over 8.5. White Sox plus $1, under 8.5. Tigers plus $1, under 9. Guardians minus 165, over 8.5. Phillies plus $1.20, over 7. Rays plus $1, under 8.5. Twins minus 160, over 8 runs. Royals minus 1.5, over 10.5. Diamondbacks plus $1, under 9. Orioles minus 175, over 8. Mariners minus 145, under 7.5. Give me the Brewers plus 1.5, over 8 runs. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And occasionally, more days than less, I produce that Chairman Briefing, which is an excellent video that breaks down each and every one of our premium selections, kind of like I do here. It's in video format, but that is also included with your purchase when I do those videos. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that, folks, happy Friday. Yes, I know this is a scrambled, jambled week. It is actually Friday. It felt like Friday on Wednesday because you had the 4th the next day. But today is actually Friday, so happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.